Pierre. And I've asked him to take pictures because if any of you go to my webpage, it is the most convoluted webpage on the internet. There are 102 individual pages on it. But it is also my scrapbook and my storage facility. And I want some tiny memento of sharing the evening with you. My name is Tony Gallo, and I'm a playwright of only 22 years and an economist of 40 years. And I will prove to you that I don't have any missing marbles, because anytime you hear, I think I'm the only person in the world who's gone from being an economist to being a playwright and done it with some serious intent. I know I am at the Wharton School. In fact, and I've nurtured this, they call me the Wharton School Playwright, which is something of a dichotomy. And yes, I was there at the same time he was. When I came to visit you, Rosette, she was at the University of Pennsylvania. Mr. Trump was there.
And you didn't call him Mr. Trump.
There is one commonality between playwriting and economics. Both are based on the very same principle. What happens when the equilibrium situation is disturbed? That's what happens in economics. When the Federal Reserve Board, there's the existing economy, the Federal Reserve Board does something, it impacts on the economy. You have the same on the stage. There's the existing situation, there's a disturbance, and then something happens. That is not the reason I decided to become a playwright. The reason I became a playwright, and I'll go through this briefly, is very much influenced by my very good friend, Dr. Herbert Stein. I don't know whether you remember him. He was President Nixon's chief economic advisor. And we both belonged to the same book club, and his contention was that an economist should not be an economist all his life, should do something in the last part of his life. I took what he said, and I went into my boss's office, who immediately announced that he was retiring and spending the rest of his life on a boat. I would rather jump into the ocean than spend the rest of my life in a boat. And I made my decision. I would do something totally different, and I decided to go into religion. I am a religious playwright. And being in show business had nothing to do with it. I knew that the pulpit was not a place for me. The theater would. I'm a Judeo-Christian playwright. And some of your very favorite playwrights are also religious playwrights. What's the most salient example? Andrew Lloyd Webber. He unabashedly calls himself a playwright. What's he written? He takes the greatest novelette ever written, the story of Joseph, and turns it into Joseph and his Technicolor coat. Another one, of course, is Jesus Christ Superstar, Cats, he wrote Phantom of the Opera, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
There's that spirituality that runs. Now, I did this seriously. This would not be a hobby, and that is the way I've had it. We do have hobbies: bridge, ballroom dancing, and traveling one time. But both Susan and I, enjoy these things. But I am a playwright. I have written 60 works. There are 7 of the pipeline, and 20 that have been published and performed. I have the Seventh Street Playhouse, which is at 125 7th Street, 5 blocks from here, which is where I live, my own stable of actors. Now, I've been talking a lot about me, but you want to hear about the plays themselves. The one I am currently working on is the one I will be working on the most, about somebody who spent considerable time in our own neighborhood, Pierre L'Enfant. Pierre Charles L'Enfant, or Peter as he liked to be called. And because something happened in his life, nobody here lives on East South Capitol or New Jersey or North Carolina. Anyhow, he did something there that changed the whole course of what happened in the city. He is the architect of the capital. Mr. L'Enfant is a very exciting character. He had flaws you wouldn't believe. He drove George Washington crazy. He drove Alexander Hamilton crazy. He drove Thomas Jefferson crazy. They were attracted to James Madison and James Monroe. Now you may ask, why have I taken an interest in him? All of my plays are religious based. Two of them are Holocaust plays, Margarita and Eugenia, both about the Holocaust. 5 are totally biblical. 13 are part of the Americana series. They're based in our history. 2 are theological, one on Martin Luther and the other on Teresa of Avila. And the ones coming up the road, there's about 6, 7 more coming up the road. Pierre L'Enfant was a minor character in a play that I wrote that was produced last year about Robert Morris, our founding financial father. How did that come about? One of my Wharton School colleagues came to see another play, which was produced at Greenbelt, Maryland, called The Springfield Boys, about my favorite of all characters, Abraham Lincoln. It's about Abraham Lincoln and his relationship with Mary Todd, with his law partner, William Herndon, and with Joshua Speed. And he said, I love this play, and I promised my mother before she died that we would have a play about, we are direct descendants of Robert Morris. And I walked away from it, and then I went back to it. Finally, I did get it done, and it has been very successful. It was performed in a town called Oxford, Maryland, where the Robert Morris Inn is located. And did raised $12,000 for the Civic Center. And ironically, Rosette, it will be performed at the first university I taught at, Robert Morris University in Pittsburgh. They are celebrating 100 years, and this will, in 2021, it will be performed there. But the gist of it is that there is a character, almost a villain in that play, named Pierre L'Enfant. And that L'Enfant was actually a villain. And the reason was that Robert Morris, as George Washington so aptly put, we would not have won the war without Robert Morris. He was our founding financial father. We faced the greatest